All right, welcome back. Oh boy, and the very first thing you see is this big, long list that looks absolutely intimidating, but it's not really. And so let me walk through this with you, and then we're going to do a couple problems using it. But this would be a time for you to grab out your toolbox or a piece of paper and write this down along with me. And I'm going to give this to you several more times so that you can stay with it. All right, those first 5 steps I put in red because those are the steps we already do every time we write a balanced reaction. So those steps are write the reactants, then write the product, check for diatomics, balance the product, and then balance the entire reaction. So those 5 steps we just did it in a review problem. All right. Some of these you're going to go, what is he talking about? And you're going to see. So just go along with me for right now. Trust me. Number 6, you're going to draw some lines. It's a little art project. You're just going to draw some lines. Number 7, you're going to write some numbers about what amounts of each element or molecule we're starting with. I give those to you in the problem. Like I might say, we're starting with 21 grams of lithium, like I did in the starter. And that's what I mean by write what you are given. All right, number 8, you're going to calculate some atomic masses. Well, you've been doing that. You did it last week for me, a bunch. You just go to the periodic table, add up the pieces and parts. All right, you've done that. Number 9, we have to calculate moles. And that's a conversion of the amount you're given in mass to moles, converting mass to moles. That's an easy one. You just do some division. And then number 10, limiting reactant. We're going to have to talk about that a little bit, what I mean. Number 11, you're going to calculate some moles of product using the equation. And in fact, you did that in the starter. So it's not too far out of what you're used to doing. The math there is just some cross multiply and divide. And finally, we're going to calculate mass of product, and we do that by converting moles back to mass. So that's the whole outline of this stoichiometry process, 12 big steps. But when you actually see it and you do your first one today, it's not so bad. All right, I'm going to move over here to Seesaw so that you can see what I'm doing. Rather than period 6, I'm going to go to my sandbox, which is where I tend to work. And I'm going to bring up this one that says, yeah, let's edit that one. All right. I'm going to make this just a little bit bigger so that you can see it a little bit easier. Okay. All right. Boy, this looks like a big mess. It's not so bad though. Let's just talk about it a little bit first. All right. So we're going to start out with a basic synthesis reaction of 2 moles of lithium plus 1 mole of chlorine yields 2 moles of lithium chloride. Okay, so what I did is the first 5 steps. What I did was wrote the reactants, I wrote the product, I checked for diatomics and put a little 2 behind chlorine. Then I balanced the product, lithium chloride, they're each +1 and -1, so the ones cancel. And then I balanced the entire reaction. All right, step number 6 said draw some lines. So what you can see is that I actually drew some lines. And what I did was I drew 1 line above each coefficient, and I drew 2 lines below each one of the coefficients. Okay? On the bottom, we're doing grams. On the top, we're doing moles. So you are always going to have 3 lines above, below each one of the elements or molecules in the balanced chemical reaction. So in a synthesis reaction, This means we have 2 below, 1 above. All right, now I've also numbered each of these little lines, and each of those corresponds to the numbers that we actually had in our list and the order in which we're going to do things. So once this was all done, the very first thing that we need to do is step number 7. And step number 7 says write what we are given. All right? And so in this case, what we are given, I'm going to give you, let's see here, 20, and I'm going to do this like this, 28 grams of lithium, and let's do 70 grams of chlorine. Okay? That's what we started with. And if you say, well, where'd those numbers come from? I made them up. I'm the teacher. I'm allowed to do that. So I just told you how much we were starting with. All right, step 8 says go to the periodic table and look up the atomic mass. Well, Li is 7, okay? We don't want 2 of them, okay? That 2 is for a different purpose. We only want the lithium right there, and 1 lithium has a mass of 7. Now over here, it's Cl2, and chlorine, if you look at your periodic table, 1 chlorine has a mass of 35, so 2 of them has a mass of 70, because 35 times 2 is 70. All right, so that's step 7. Step 8. Step 9 is up here. Okay, so what we're going to actually do is we're going to take this right here, and this one right here, and we're going to do a division problem with that. 28 divided by 7, and write the answer up here. Well, 28 divided by 7 is 4, okay, in space number 9. Over here, same thing, 70 divided by 70, and write the answer up here, which is 1. Okay, we're just breezing through this. All right, that was step 9, convert mass to mole. Step 10, circle the limiting reactant. Now, when we bake things and when we do things in chemistry, we often run out of stuff. So it'd be like if you were making chocolate chip cookies and you wanted to make 5 dozen cookies, but you only got 10 chocolate chips. Well, the chocolate chips are going to limit how many cookies you can make. And in chemistry, we also have things that limit what we can do. So to find the limiting reactant, I'm going to use purple here on my highlighter. All I do for step number 10 is I compare this number 4 and this number 2, and I divide that. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 1 divided by 1 is 1. So I'm just doing divide here, okay? 4 divided by 2 is 2, okay? And now that I have 2 over here on the left, 1 over here on the chloride, all I want to do is circle the smaller number. And my smaller number is 1, because 1 is smaller than 2. And so I'm just going to circle this whole big thing here. That's my limiting reactant. That's step number 10. Do the division. Okay, notice my blue circle and my yellow circle, they do not overlap. I'm not making any green here. All right, step number 11. We'll keep going here. The next step is I take the limiting ratio here, 1 and 1. So I'm going to write that over here. 1 divided by 1. Okay, and over here, x. That's what I want to know. And I'm going to use this same set of numbers right there. So I'm going to do equals x divided by 2, because that's what that says. And so now I'm just going to do cross multiply and divide, and I can see that x equals 2. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to get rid of my x, and I'm going to come back over here and write in the number, which is 2. And my last step, step 12, is that I need to multiply this 2 by the atomic mass. So I have to go back and calculate an atomic mass here because I didn't get that done earlier. So lithium is 7 plus chlorine is 35. 7 plus 35 is 42. Okay, so 42 grams per mole. All right, so all I'm going to do here is multiply 2 times 42. 2 times 42 is 84. So I'm going to write my final answer right there, 84. And that is all 12 steps, and that is your first stoichiometry problem. Okay, so that's how we're going to do these. And your work in Seesaw for today is to just be able to do one of these, just one stoichiometry problem, and it is laid out identical to what I just did here for you. All right, have at it.